Co-parenting with no contact. Wife had affair with co-worker. No contact for 3 weeks. Divorced, living separately. 2 kids. My ex keeps wanting to play mom and dad with the kids. She invites me over for dinner, or asks if I want to go swimming with them. She feels that it's important, that we can show the kids, that mom and dad are still getting along. At the same time, she keeps telling me, that she respects the fact, that I want to take care of myself and create some distance between her and I. My take is, that she is trying to minimize the consequences of her actions, by trying to be friendly and rope me into playing mommy and daddy with the kids. She has lied, manipulated and gaslighted me. In the wake of me discovering the affair, she even had the nerve to file for divorce with the reason emotional abuse. She told me, that the only reason she was divorcing me, was because of the emotional abuse she had endured from me. This was the last straw for me and I went no contact unless it's an emergency or has something to do with the kids. She brings up the affair on occasion. I told her AP's wife about the affair. Something to do with, that her AP could see from his wife's phone, that I had called her, while I was with the kids, so she was worried, what had been said, while the kids were around. I don't know how she arrived at this conclusion. I had called her AP's wife, while I was at work, after I had dropped the kids off at kindergarten. She wants a reaction from me. I feel physically ill, every time I'm around my ex. I was shaking after I had spoken with her on the phone last night, but I kept my cool while talking to her. So, what annoys me is this. I recently moved into my new apartment, but the kids haven't been there yet. She wants to be a part of the whole moving in process, so the kids feel safe in their new surroundings. Don't get me wrong, the kids are thriving. They are fine, and they will be fine. She still wants to be friends, but I don't want to be in the same room as her. I shouldn't have spoken with her on the phone. Lesson learned. Back to no contact. Update, no contact, how long till recovery? Wife had affair with co-worker. D-Day 4.5 months ago. A lot of emotional physical back and forth since, finally said I'm done with her 3.5 weeks ago. No contact for 24 days. Divorced, living separately. 2 kids. I've gained a lot more mental clarity after going no contact and have implemented healthy routines for myself and practice meditation and so forth. With no contact enforced, how long on average till the pain starts to subside? I have days where I'm fine and don't think too much about my ex and her affair, but it's especially bad if I'm not taking proper care of myself: diet, exercise, sleep. Update, she looked old. I reluctantly agreed to let my ex FaceTime with the kids, even though I knew it was sort of a violation of my no contact. I don't regret it, though. She looked tired. She looked old. She looked like she had been crying. This actually helped me realize that I'm no longer in love with her. I didn't see my loving wife or the mother of my children. I saw a broken person who was struggling. Some part of me still feels bad for her, for some reason. I feel myself letting go of the anger and the hurt. I don't want to stay mad at her, because that would be allowing her to have some sort of power over me. I tussled with the kids and messed around with them, while my ex was on FaceTime. I was happy. It felt good to show her that I was doing well. Update, first night in my new apartment. I just moved into my new apartment. Very modern, renovated and comfortable. My family had spent the day helping me move, organize stuff and decorate the kids' room. I took a long shower in my new bathroom. It was marvelous. I think I stayed in there for a good hour. I went from room to room and looked them over, standing in the doorway for a while, trying to let everything sink in. I finally went to bed and I woke in the middle of the night, heart pounding, arms going numb. I've been prone to having anxiety attacks in the past, but this is really the first one that hit after the divorce. I was so confused when I woke, half asleep, trying to collect myself. It was terrible. My first instinct was to call my ex. To call someone. To call for help. Instead, I helped myself. I finally calmed down and went back to sleep. In the morning, I went downstairs onto the street and smoked a cigarette. The street was pretty much empty. I think I'm doing better. Update, and so it begins. No contact for 32 days. Divorced, living separately. 2 kids. My ex just texted me last night. This is translated from a different language. I need to share a few things with you. Maybe you can use it yourself in your recovery. I'm sorry I lied through my therapy and the work with myself. It has become clearer to me why. As a child, I grew up with little to no security and comfort. This was accompanied by a feeling that my mother did not like me. As a small child, you are dependent on your caregivers for survival, so I spent my entire childhood trying to get her to like me. I was terrified by the thought of her not liking me. So this chase became all-consuming. I haven't let go of this pattern as an adult because I haven't processed it, so I do everything I can to get people to like me in that particular situation. This becomes so all-consuming as when I was a child, that everything else past, present, consequences etc. become irrelevant. Luckily, I am now on the right path. My take: I'm sorry I lied about having an affair, but my mother didn't love me enough, so I had time with another man. That's the gist of it, right? I'm sorry that I let my need for control terrorize our relationship. A way to combat insecurity is by creating control. I did this to a great extent as a child and in periods as an adult, where I felt unsafe. I felt very unsafe in our relationship. It was a feeling that stemmed from an uncertainty as to whether you wanted to look out for me and if you even cared about me. This made me feel very uncertain and unsafe for all of the time we were together. That is why I try to compensate with control. A lot. And it hurt you. A lot for that. I am sorry. My take: despite your best efforts to show me how much you cared, it still wasn't enough. You gave me your heart, but I wanted your soul. Don't think twice. It's alright. Update: I kinda effed up? No contact for 42 days. Our kids were sent home from preschool Tuesday, because one of the other kids there got tested positive for COVID-19. So I've been in quarantine at home with the kids for 3 days. I don't know if it's different in the States, but here in Denmark, people get tested on day 4 from when they've been exposed to a possible contagion. Day 4 was today. The wait in queue for being tested is usually about an hour here in Copenhagen, so I offered my ex to wait in line with them to help keep the kids busy, as I had to get tested myself. The queue when we got there was miles long, so we decided to go back to my place and hang out with the kids, and try again later. She asked me if I knew therapist's name. They had these sort of man support groups. I told her I was done with therapy, and I had found a way to cope on my own. She replies, I guess that's what denial looks like. I said, did you really just say that? She later apologized and said there are so many things I didn't have a chance to tell you. At this point she was frustrated, angry. Finally, back in the queue she goes, I care a lot about you. I am so happy you are the father of my children. The people we love the most are the ones that can hurt us the most. I just sort of kept her at a distance and played with our kids. She kept probing me, where are you celebrating New Year's? I go, with my friend Eric. It's sort of a couples thing, but I'm just going to be my single self there. She replies, well, maybe there's a girl for you there? With a smirk. I say I doubt it, I'm not counting on it. I felt attracted to her, but only sexually. I'm pretty sure the trauma bond is still very much intact, and my sexual energy is tied to her. I shouldn't have broken NC, but I really missed my kids as well. Some part of me still misses her drama as well, to be honest. Back to no contact. Update: boundaries. To anyone following my posts, I broke NC with my ex on Saturday, to help get the kids tested for COVID-19. We had an argument and the atmosphere was tense. I am considering sending her this text. I think our argument on Saturday is a clear indication that we are not yet ready to do anything together with the kids. At this stage, I do not believe it is healthy for neither of us and certainly not the children. I would ask you again, in the future, to limit our communication to logistics and matters concerning the well-being of our children, or in case of emergencies. I want to make it clear to her that I have set boundaries and that I want her to respect them. She keeps telling me that she feels it's important to show the kids that mom and dad are getting along, even when we are clearly not. Please do chime in. Update: moving on no contact for 56 days sort of. I went full NC November 8th. At this point, I was at my lowest. We had slept together a few days prior and she had told me how much she loved me, and that her biggest wish was for us to be together. However, as soon as I would show interest in reconciliation, she would withdraw once again. I was truly in the midst of the pick-me dance. Being aware of this, I finally decided to cut ties with her, and go full NC, as much as possible, due to shared children. Here is what I have learned experienced during no contact. 1. Intrusive thoughts, obsessive thinking, mental images of the affair have stopped altogether. 2. She is no longer on my mind 24/7. She pops into my head once or twice a day, tops. 3. I am sexually attracted to other women. A new sexual emotional interest does wonders for your mental well-being. 4. I don't have breakdowns anymore. 5. I don't miss her anymore. 6. My mental image of her has changed. I no longer remember her fondly or hope for reconciliation. I am better off without her. Whenever there is a drop-off with the kids, however, even the slightest contact, it still messes with my head a bit. I am usually back to normal again after a couple of hours. She is still very affectionate whenever we meet, long hugs followed by, in my mind, a condescending "Are you okay?" I just give her the thumbs up and go tip-top. I just wanted to share, because I know a lot of people are struggling. 2 months of no contact so far, and I am doing a lot better. I think I'm nearly there. Edit, this just hit me, I just breezed through Christmas Eve like it was nothing. We had laughs, I hung out with my family and played with the kids. My brother-in-law's ex-wife was there, who kept hitting on me, just to get to him. It was a blast. Update, I did it. A couple of months before I found out about my ex-wife's affair, I had started working out and dieting properly. It was something that I had been trying to do for a long time, going on fad diets, push-up challenges and whatnot. I eventually found a routine that stuck. The workout program basically consisted of 4 different exercises. 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. This was repeated a total of 32 times. I did this 2-3 times a week. I started losing weight fast, and I was getting more toned. My ex-wife was in awe of my tenacity and dedication. Her positive response egged me on. 3 months in, I discovered the affair. I remember one time, shortly after D-Day, doing my workout routine, full steam, with my ex-wife sitting in the couch, bawling her eyes out. My marriage had exploded, my wife had an affair, but that wasn't going to stop me. It is a grueling workout routine and I never completed the full 32 rounds. Until a week ago, I had the kids for Christmas and was feeling pretty down after I dropped them off at their mom's. I slept for a full day afterwards. My apartment was a mess, and I was feeling really sorry for myself. My ex-wife sent me a few videos of her and the kids hanging out with her relatives. One of the videos was of my son, playing iPad, with his aunt. Every time I see his aunt, she's gained at least another 20 pounds. She's a real mouth breather. I never cared much for my ex-wife's side of the family. They are all lazy, self-important and have a slew of different mental disorders diagnosed. I shot out of bed. Seeing that lazy slob motivated me to get my ass out of bed. I had a headache, I was hurting mentally, and the last thing I wanted to do was work out. But I did it anyway. For the first time since I started my workout routine back in April, I completed the full 32 rounds. I broke down crying and laughing for a full 2 minutes on my living room floor. I finally did it. I had kept telling myself that I couldn't complete the full workout. But I did. Something shifted in me. It was all in my head. I've since made it a habit that whenever I feel shitty or sorry for myself, I go for a run or I work out. Do I always feel better afterwards? 100% yes. Do I want to do it? 100% no. I could have just stayed in bed, but I didn't. Update, recovered. I was kinda on the fence about writing this post, but here goes. After Christmas, I dropped the kids off with my ex-wife. She had asked if she could borrow my iPad to keep the kids busy. They were going on a road trip to go see her mom. I agreed, but I made sure to log out of my Apple ID and change the password. iMessage is linked to the iPad, so whenever I get a text, it shows up on the iPad as well. I keep a full record of all text messages between me and my ex on iCloud. I don't keep it on my phone so I won't look at them. I didn't want to run the risk of her trying to delete them or read any of my other private texts. I FaceTimed with the kids the following day. She whips the phone around. I had a dream. I dreamt you had gotten a girlfriend. Seeing my own face on the phone, I was very careful with my reaction. I basically gray rocked her and went all right. She sent me a text later in the evening, something along the lines of, "I'm sorry if I sometimes cross the boundary of only talking about kids-related stuff, but my heart is full of a lot of things, and sometimes they spill out before I get a chance to think. I am in pain, relief, anger, sadness, longing and despair, and everything comes and goes in waves." I reply, "I'm sorry you feel that way, but I think it would be better for both of us, that you share your feelings with someone else." Then she goes on a tirade, where she basically just tries to save face. I ignore it. She also sent a few other weird texts. "What time in the day were you born? Also, do you want to say goodnight to the kids?" She's into astrology and healing crystals. The day after, I get a notification on my phone. Someone is trying to log in using your Apple ID, with the location of the login attempt specified. I realize that my ex-wife probably still has the password for my Messenger as well. On Facebook, I find a log of every instance of someone logging into my account. I find that she had logged into my Messenger. There was a login the very same day, from her location. I change my password and ignore it. A week later, I get the kids back in the iPad. I don't mention her logging into my private accounts or anything. I look at the search history on the iPad. She has never been very tech savvy and find a search on Google on the iPad. Why not use her own phone? How to download text messages from iPad. What's going on? Is she just ramping up the crazy? My bet is that the affair fog is long gone, and the fact that I have created a completely new life for myself and my kids within a matter of months, and that I am on a trajectory away and up, scares the living out of her. Update, my process and experience. Well, I'd like to thank everyone on here for your constant support, advice, and for basically just being awesome human beings. I believe I've reached a point where I can consider myself recovered. The good days far outweigh the bad and my life is back on track. Since NC has worked wonders for me, I am leaving Reddit for a while. I still get somewhat triggered by reading other stories about infidelity. So, I'm just trying to limit exposure to things that stir up my emotions for a while. This is probably going to be a bit jumbled and mixed together. None of this is meant to offend anyone or belittle your experiences with infidelity. This post is a reflection of my current state of mind and my past experiences. I've gotten a bunch of well-meaning advice from a lot of folks, mostly from people who only offer cliches and half-baked thoughts with no real practical way of applying it. So here is my take on each of them and how to properly apply them. Time heals all wounds. Nope. I don't like this quote, because it gives off the impression that no matter what you do, you'll eventually be fine, or things will work themselves out. I personally don't buy into this notion. Why? Because, by not taking responsibility and action now, you will only push your problems further into the future. What might seem like healing is just you carrying your trauma and dysfunctional patterns over into your next relationship. Take responsibility. Now. Do you want something to change? Do you want to feel better? Take the necessary steps to get there. Time doesn't heal all wounds. You heal all wounds. Treat yourself with love and respect. So, I should just love and respect myself? Okay. I'm overweight, sitting in my underwear, in my filthy kitchen, eating spaghetti out of a can. Is that a person you would respect? No. How do people, in your eyes, earn your love and respect? They show you that they have integrity, good morals, and are an overall stand-up person. So, be the best version of yourself that you can be. Even when you are alone, don't do anything that will make you think any less of yourself. Treat yourself as someone you love and respect. Know that you are good enough. Do you ever feel like you're not good enough sometimes, though? Well, no one has probably told you this before, but maybe you aren't all that great. I was codependent in my marriage and became an insecure little man. My ex was not the only one to blame for this. You probably know what areas in your life could stand a little improvement. Work on those. Here's an important one. Learn to be alone. Because, that's what you are. Alone. At the end of the day, it's just you and your brain. Don't constantly reach out to friends and family or try to distract yourself if you're feeling bad. Try and stick it out by yourself. Of course you should reach out, but once in a while, try doing it solo. It will make you stronger. Our first impulse is to try and alleviate the pain we are feeling somehow: booze, drugs, women, but again, you're merely distracting yourself and postponing the pain. Try and deal with the pain head on. It's probably one of the hardest things you'll ever have to do. Face your demons. Alone. If you love someone, set them free. Bullshit. At one point, you will realize that your ex really wasn't that special. With no contact, the fluffy feelings and pedestal thoughts of your ex will eventually fade and will be replaced with a more realistic perception of them. This may sound weird, but every time I try and recall my ex's face, the only thing I see is a visual representation of her character. She almost looks ogreish, her facial features distorted and monstrous. I see her, in my mind, for who she really is. For anyone embarking on this journey, it's not just a traumatic experience, it really is a journey. Remember, with great crisis comes great opportunity for change growth. The growth won't come automatically, you have to will it into existence. Put in the work. Update. Worth. How many times have you sat there and said, I wish they knew how much they hurt me? I'm going to let you in on a little secret. They already know. They knew when they did it. And they still know now. They just don't care. Please don't message them. Don't send them that long paragraph, hoping that they will respond the way you want them to respond. Take your dignity and go. Stop wasting your time with people who don't value or respect you. You attract what you think you deserve. Have some self-respect. Have some self-pride. Update. No contact. How do I get her to stop? She has since then made several attempts to reconcile, meaning, she wanted us to hang out as a pseudo-family and play mom and dad with our kids. I have declined several times. Recently, my oldest started going to school, and I asked if I could accompany them on his first day. We share custody 50-50, but she had him on his first day of school. She agreed. It was a very unpleasant experience. She had a conflict with our son. He had a meltdown. I tried to console him afterwards and my ex told me I was making her the bad guy. I could of course see her point, but she was very aggressive about it. Long story short, our attempts at playing family have all resulted in conflicts and hysterical children. I told her that I thought it best that we don't spend time together as a family, because I think it will further confuse the children. They are 4 and 5. She recently got a new boyfriend, so I had hoped she would be less crazy and it would take some of the heat off of me. Every time I engage, it almost always results in long paragraph text messages from her accusing me of abusing her emotionally and destroying her self-esteem and so forth. I usually just apologize and deflect. I had to block her from Facebook as well. She is calling herself a survivor and posts articles about what it is like to live with a depressed narcissist and stuff like that. Anyway, it was getting to me, so I just tried to block her out of my life. Yesterday, she sent me videos of me playing with our kids, when they were babies. She wrote something along the lines of, I know we messed a lot of things up, but we made some beautiful babies together. I am so grateful to you, for giving me such wonderful children. The sentiment is nice, but I know from experience, that she is trying to hoover me in. I just ignored it and she texted me again this evening, something along the lines of, the videos and the words I sent you and other times I wrote nice things have no other function than to share our children with you and a wish that we could be parents together again. I'm having a hard time understanding how someone can ignore this gesture, but I will of course accept it. This is in no way meant to provoke or bother you, it is not my intention at all. I wish you all the best. I have already made it clear to her that I am not interested in playing family or being her friend. So, my question is, how can I put it nicely, without escalating the situation, that I don't want to have anything to do with her? The bit about the two of us being parents together again, is quite strange as well and I don't really know to interpret it. Any advice is welcome. Update, dating after divorce infidelity. Hey gang. Ex-wife F34 cheated on me M36 18 months ago and we got divorced subsequently etc. I've dated a bunch of women casually since then, but I've recently struck up an acquaintance with a somewhat younger woman 25. When me and my ex-wife started dating, I would catch her checking out other guys, right in front of me. I shrugged it off as just me being slightly insecure and took it as a sign that I was growing fond of her. This sort of flirtatious behavior continued throughout our relationship and while we were married. If I ever confronted her, she would gaslight me and go, "It's all in your head" and whatnot. Today I dropped the girl off, that I had been seeing for around 3 weeks, at her workplace. As we pull up, we both notice this handsome young man, standing in front of the building. It didn't seem like they knew each other, but she would sort of perk up and fully face the guy and give him a smile and then face back towards me. We kissed and said goodbye etc., but this feeling of dread washed over me all at once. I haven't felt like this in a long time. Basically, I am falling for this girl and I'm already overwhelmed with jealousy, negative thoughts and feelings of despair. Most of all, I just feel like walking away, because I really don't want to feel like this. I'm also having a hard time seeing us being in a long-term relationship, mostly because of her age and the way she lives her life. I have 2 kids and run my own small company and she likes to get high and party with her friends. We hang out and do girlfriend-boyfriend type of stuff and I enjoy spending time with her. We've had a pretty intense connection so far and she seems to be enjoying spending time with me as well. We've already decided that we were going to be exclusive, because she didn't like the thought of multiple unprotected sex partners. But romantically, I have no idea where I stand with her. She texts me that she can't stop thinking about me and so forth, but yeah, I don't think I'm ready for a relationship, because I don't want to burden someone else with my trust issues. I thought I had moved on, but the trauma is still alive and well it seems. Update, dealing with triggers and traumas. Ex-wife F34 cheated on me M36 18 months ago and we got divorced subsequently. It was a pretty traumatic experience, but I have since recovered, well sort of. I just got into a new relationship and things are flaring up again. I saw a random video of some girl getting caught cheating with a bartender. She had just gotten married. She kind of looked like my girlfriend, so I started freaking out a bit. To be honest, I'm scared that my girlfriend is going to cheat on me someday. I'm not afraid of her leaving me. I'm not going to hold on to someone who wants to leave. But I am afraid of being deceived. Should I involve my girlfriend in my thoughts, fears? I am also afraid that if I vocalize my fear of being cheated on, it might turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, have you addressed the emotional damage that infidelity causes? And it seems as if your ex still tries hard to delay your healing. Read the body keeps the score and learn to develop some positive coping techniques. They won't all go away, but with practice, you can manage it better. And absolutely tell your partner. But frame how you tell it. Don't do it while suffering an episode. And discuss it in a way that y'all can manage together. If you don't tell her, then the behaviors manifest in other negative ways that hurt her and the relationship. Don't allow negative coping behaviors to take over. Find positive ways to channel the negative emotional energy. Redditor 2, it's been almost 5 years and I'm still not over the trauma cheating caused me. Talk to your GF and talk to a counselor. Redditor 3, brother, life is not easy. Men as a couple, most women, they confuse being liberal and self-sufficient and libertinaje. Let it be clear to all, but today it is more normal. They respect their body unless they're partners. Said the above, you must find the woman with values and principles and that she knows how to respect her body as well as others. Also, you are already an older man. You cannot and should not depressed or despair about something. If you should already have control over you, if she is not the one you want, it is better to finish and get to your ideal. Redditor 4, are you in therapy? I would advise therapy to try and help with trust issues in general. And if you already are, talk to your therapist. I'm sure they would have far better advice on how to broach this with new partners than I could give. My own thoughts are that yes, you could share these thoughts with your GF, however, it is important how you do so. Keep in mind that your current GF is not who betrayed you and therefore does not deserve to not be trusted. The reason I say all of this is there is a fine line between sharing an insecurity and burdening them with an insecurity, where the latter can quickly become a form of emotional abuse. Is it fine to mention having trust issues? Yes. But it is not okay to make them feel that easing your trust issues is their responsibility. Not to mention it can come across as pretty insulting if worded poorly. Basically, if you do so, you must present it and treat it as a you issue, not a her issue. It can help put into context certain behaviors you do so she doesn't misread them, which in turn helps her respond appropriately so as not to exacerbate your issue, but it shouldn't be used as a justification for engaging in what would normally be considered controlling behavior, for example, scrolling through their phone without permission, banning seeing talking to certain friends, asking for constant updates about where they are or what they are doing. Redditor 5, get some counseling buddy, don't let your ex destroy this relationship also. Redditor 6, any PTSD can be hard at times to deal with depending upon your experience of the infidelity trauma. I have just crossed over my 7th year anniversary of Give My Crazy Ex Cruella Out. I get triggered every day still, and I became more of a profiler since then. There's days I totally become a shut-in for days, especially during my son's b-day or holidays. I have not seen him in 7 years. He was 6 months-ish last I seen him. Cruella disappeared when she noticed her plans to charge me on false accusations. It took the first 4 years to clear my name in courts. Thanks to my gods for the overwhelming evidences I had recorded through that event. Now I'm still dealing with family courts. Redditor 7, if she has given you no reason to doubt her, then it's nothing but your own insecurities. I would definitely talk to her and tell her your fears and to have patience with you.